I'm Jaromir Jagr from Kladno, Czech Republic. My favorite player growing up was Jaromir Jagr.
Start to show up a little bit. Jim Johnson shot, safe, rebound, score! Jagr gets the goal!
Again.
I called hammer workout.
Oh my gosh.
Do I need a workout? 40 years old.
I don't think so.
Thank you.
How much fun did you have mentoring those young kids in Huberdeau and Barkov? Well, I feel like 25 again, so
Uvidíme se později.
Hey, Jaromir, how you say, let's go Rangers?
Do toho Rangers.
Do toho Rangers. How you say, he shoots, he scores?
Cília dává gól.
Styria dava gol. How you say, have a great game?
Smrdíš jako prase.
Smierdis jako prasa. Hey, Peter, smierdis jako prasa.
Sustaining longevity in sports is a challenge only the greatest athletes achieve. Occasionally, we get to witness those rare talents who defy the aging process, earning the title of ageless wonders. Whether it's due to innate talent, rigorous training, or a blend of both, these athletes demonstrate that age is simply just a number. And it's one thing to merely stick around and play at the highest level for a long time, but reaching a whole other level of greatness is playing at an elite level for decades. And that's certainly not to take away from anyone. Some people are just built different, and Father Time just doesn't seem to catch up with them. And today, boys, I've honestly never had more fun making a video, and been more excited to post this and share it with y'all. We're going to be talking about a player whose pro career is almost 20 years older than myself. A man whose career literally outlived Internet Explorer and has played with or against 38% of NHL players to have ever played in the league. And you know him, you love him, this man honestly doesn't need any more of an introduction. Today, we're delving into the complete story of the ageless wonder, Mario Jr., the man known for rocking the most iconic mullet in sports history, Jaromir Jagr. Jaromir Jagr's story begins on February 15, 1972 in Kladno, Czechoslovakia, a town marked by the hardships of communist rule. Born to Jaromir Sr. and Anna Jagr, he grew up in a family deeply affected by political oppression. Both of his grandparents had been imprisoned, and his parents endured similar struggles. Recognizing the limited opportunities under the communist rule, Jagr's parents saw hockey as a potential path to a better life for their son. From a young age, Jagr showed remarkable talents for hockey, beginning to skate at just 3 years old. By the age of 8, he was playing on multiple teams, often against older competition, to own his skills. His dedication never wavered, idolizing players like Mario Lemieux, whose skill and success inspired him. And at just the age of 12, Jagr joined Kladno's U18 team, where he immediately made an impact, scoring 41 points in 34 games despite playing alongside 16 and 17-year-olds. He would continue to play for Kladno's U18 and U20 teams, and eventually he would play for their Czech League team. Beginning his pro career with Kladno, his hometown team, Jagr quickly became a Czech hockey sensation. His rapid ascent through the ranks showcased not only his talent, but also his unwavering work ethic. Jagr's dedication and daily regimen is the stuff of legend. beyond. Ever since he was 7 years old, Jagr's routine featured intense training, which included 1,000 squats per day. Excelling at each stage, he was hailed as a prodigy in Czech hockey. And when the time came, he was viewed by many as the best player in his draft class. But the first chapter of Jagr's NHL journey was marked by some hurdles. Despite his undeniable talent, skepticism loomed over his transition to North America, with uncertainty surrounding his willingness to play in the NHL. However, his admiration for one Mario Lemieux and the Pittsburgh Penguins was unwavering. Craig Patrick, the general manager of the Pittsburgh Penguins at the time, recalled when we interviewed him, he said, "I'll come right away," because he idolized Mario Lemieux and wanted to play alongside him. This strategic shift left Jagr open for the Penguins to draft him. Pierre Maguire, who had recently joined the Penguins as a scout, vividly remembers the draft. Sitting at the draft table were Craig Patrick, Scotty Bowman, and Badger Bob Johnson. Pierre noted that they always wanted Jagr. That was always the focus of what the team wanted as a group. And despite feeling confident about their chances of drafting Jagr, there was still no guarantee, as Pittsburgh had the 5th selection in the 1990 draft. So the Penguins would anxiously watch as the draft unfolded. After Owen Nolan, Peter Nedved, and Keith Primo were picked, the Penguins' hopes rose as they didn't believe the Philadelphia Flyers would select Jagr. Their hunch was correct, and Jaromir Jagr became a Pittsburgh Penguin. Following the draft, Jagr flew from Vancouver to Pittsburgh. During an interview years later for the Penguins' 50th anniversary documentary, Jagr revealed that the Penguins were concerned about the political unrest in Czechoslovakia and the possibility of him being drafted into the military if he returned. Because of this, there was a preference from the Penguins for him to remain in Pittsburgh, despite his desire to bid farewell to his family and friends in his hometown. Craig Patrick, the Penguins' general manager, even traveled to Kalatno on his own to finalize Jagr's arrangements. And from the moment Jagr would touch down in Pittsburgh, it was clear something big was about to happen. Paul Steigerwald, who was the Penguins' radio color analyst at the time, vividly remembers the first time he saw Jagr. Jagr was standing there talking, and Penn's assistant coach at the time, Barry Smith, turned to him and said, "Look at the power train on that kid. It was so obvious that he was built differently than anybody else." Before the start of the 1991 season, Jagr embraced the opportunity that he was given and decided on wearing the number 68 in honor of the Prague Spring of 1968, reflecting his pride in his heritage and defiance of oppression. Jaromir Jagr's rookie season in the NHL began with challenges, but ultimately ended in triumph. Arriving from Czechoslovakia, Jagr quickly adapted to the North American game under the guidance of players such as Brian Trottier and the great Mario Lemieux. Despite his on-ice progress, Jagr struggled off the ice, particularly with the language barrier. To address these problems, Craig Patrick arranged for Jagr to start English classes and introduced him to the local Czechoslovakian community. Jagr even moved in with a Czech family in Homestead. Stefan and Olga Nemec would take Jagr in during his first year in the league and make him feel more at home. And once the season got underway, on October 7th, 1990, Jagr would score his first NHL goal in a 7-4 win against the New Jersey Devils, and his first assist would come 2 weeks later against the Buffalo Sabres. While Jagr started to become a little bit more comfortable with his new living situation, he still experienced isolation at the rink. The language barrier posed a significant challenge, as Jagr would frequently mistake basic coaching instructions as criticisms. Consequently, Jagr did not get off to the best start. Recognizing Jagr's emotional state, Penguins coach Bob Johnson made a pivotal move on December 13th, acquiring veteran Czechoslovakian player Jiří Hrdina to provide support and guidance for Jagr. And ultimately, Jagr would credit this move for saving his career. A rejuvenated Jagr finished the season strongly, tallying 37 of his 57 points in the last 40 games of the year. However, the pinnacle was yet to arrive in 1991. Heading into the playoffs, the Penguins were strong, clinching the division title and finishing second in the league in scoring. And surprisingly, after losing Game 1 of the opening round against the Devils, it would be in Game 2 overtime where Jagr made his mark, having a moment that ultimately sparked a remarkable run for a franchise still in pursuit of its first Stanley Cup.
Wing hooks from behind with interference by McLean, but he gets to the net. Jagr scores! Pittsburgh wins it. to Francis. In front, tip, Terrari to save. The rebound, they score!
Goes to Jagr though into the Capitals in. Jagr comes down around the man, walks with the net, he's there, shoots, score!
With 3 goals and 13 points in the playoffs, Jagr helped the Pittsburgh Penguins win their first Stanley Cup in franchise history. Although he didn't score much in the playoffs, he certainly came up big and scored when it mattered most. He was also named to the All-Rookie team and finished 6th in Calder Trophy voting, marking an incredible rookie season and setting the stage for an even more remarkable sophomore campaign. Although Jagr's rookie season showed promise, it wasn't until his second year that Jagr truly began to shine. With a growing command of English and newfound confidence, his style became synonymous with flair and finesse. His on-ice performances were electrifying, with speed and skill making him a formidable force. Scotty Bowman, now the Penguins head coach, noted Jagr's unique playing style, comparing him to the legendary Frank Mahovlich for his skating prowess and strength on the puck. And this is what truly set Jagr apart. Jagr's remarkable playing style, his towering and possessing immense strength, exhibited a mastery of puck control amidst relentless defensive pressure. Jagr was so good at shielding the puck as he searched for openings to pass or shoot. And if you were a defenseman going up against Jagr in his prime, you couldn't get the puck off him without taking a penalty. He was that good at controlling the puck. At the start of the 1992 season, Jagr faced some challenges in securing adequate ice time due to the Penguins' talent surplus at the right wing, but Jagr's impact would soon be undeniable. In 1992, Jagr played in 10 fewer games for the Penguins than in the previous season, but he managed to score 12 more points and achieved the 30-goal milestone for the first time in his career. And the Penguins were even stronger than in 1991. Jagr's performance was pivotal as they headed into the playoffs, where he would emerge as one of their top players, playing a crucial role in what the team hoped to be a successful title defense.
Here's Jagr, top of the circle and score!
Jagr backhands it in. Puck way down, and the Penguins take a 2-1 lead.
Van Beesbrook will poke check.
All right, here we go. 1-0 now, and what is it now? 2-0. As Jagr goes in and made no mistake and pounds it by John Van Beesbrook. Pass ahead. 2-on-1, Jagr coming in. Jagr scores! Jagr has done it one more time.
He has done it. We're in the Stanley Cup final for the second year in a row, and here's Jagr with the puck. Jagr, nice move around Brent Sutter to the backhand. Lets it go, he scores!
Pittsburgh has indeed won back-to-back Stanley Cups for the Badgers. Jagr, Stevens, Scotty Bowman, Mario Lemieux, Barrasso, that steady Pittsburgh defense and the rest of the Penguins.
Jagr's playoff performance in '92 was iconic, marked by 5 game-winning goals. Among these, his clutch game-winning goal in the opening round, Game 7 against the Capitals, and his overtime winner in Game 1 of the conference finals against the Bruins stood out. But the most iconic moment by far came in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final against the Chicago Blackhawks. With the Penguins trailing, Jagr executed a remarkable individual effort, weaving through defenders to score a nasty game-tying goal, maybe the nicest goal scored in Stanley Cup Finals history, that would ultimately set the stage for Mario Lemieux's game winner, leading the Penguins to sweep the Blackhawks, solidifying Jagr's reputation as not only a rising star, but now one of the best players in the league. And when asked about all of his newfound success, Jagr remained humble, simply stating, "I just play." As Jagr now entered his third season in the NHL, his potential seemed limitless. With 2 Stanley Cup rings already, all Jagr knew was winning. The young Czech star was poised to continue his ascent and cement his legacy. In 1993, the Pittsburgh Penguins were once again one of the most dominant teams in the league, and Jagr continued to build off his impressive rookie and sophomore seasons, as Jagr would record 94 points and 34 goals, leading the Penguins in scoring, as the Penguins were looking to three-peat, and they had a much better regular season record of 56, 21, and 7 than in 91 and 92, and many believed they would get the job done again. However, to everyone's surprise, the New York Islanders, led by Ray Ferraro, pulled off one of the biggest upsets of all time, eliminating the Penguins in the second round, Game 7 overtime. Despite the disappointing end to the 1993 season, Jagr proved that he was next in line to hold the throne, and he was poised to be considered the next best player in the world. In 1994, Jagr played in 80 games, recording 67 assists, which was 7th in the NHL in scoring, and 32 goals for a total of 99 points, which was 9th in the NHL in scoring. However, the Penguins would fail to get past the first round of the playoffs for the first time in 3 years, losing to the Washington Capitals in 6 games. Jagr did put up 6 points in 6 playoff games, however. The following year, despite half of the season being wiped out due to the NHL lockout, it proved to be a crucial year in Jagr's career, and signaled a change in the NHL. This was because for the first time since 1981, a player named Wayne or Mario wouldn't take home the Art Ross Trophy as the NHL's top scorer. Instead, it would go to Jagr. In 48 games, Jagr put up 32 goals and 38 assists for a total of 70 points, and to top it off, he would finish second in Hart Trophy voting. In the playoffs, the Penguins would unfortunately lose in the second round to the eventual Stanley Cup champions, the New Jersey Devils, despite Jagr's impressive performance of 15 points in 12 playoff games. In '96, we were now officially entering the Jagr era. He would tally an impressive 62 goals and 87 assists for a healthy 149 points. And despite these incredible numbers, he actually didn't lead the NHL in scoring, finishing second only behind some guy named Mario Lemieux. The Penguins also had a great year in '96, and they went on a little bit of a run, coming just 1 win short of the Stanley Cup final, losing to the Florida Panthers in 7 games. Jagr had yet another remarkable playoff run, putting up 23 points in those 18 playoff games. In '97, Jagr missed some time playing in only 63 games for the Penguins, but he still managed to put up a ridiculous 47 goals and 48 assists for 95 points, finishing 6th in the NHL in scoring. In 1998, Jagr continued to add to his legacy, winning his second Art Ross Trophy, leading the NHL in points with 102 and assists with 67. He would once again finish second in Hart Trophy voting as well, and despite having another strong team and regular season, the Penguins were unable to find success in the playoffs, losing to the Habs in the opening round in 6 games. In 1999, Jagr won pretty much the only thing he hadn't won yet, the Hart Trophy as league MVP. He would also win his second consecutive Art Ross Trophy, leading the league with 83 assists and 127 points in just 81 games. Despite this era being considered the dead puck era, Jagr was still putting up numbers like it was the 80s. Jagr would also take home the Lester B. Pearson Award, now known as the Ted Lindsay Award, as the MVP in the league as voted on by his fellow players. Unfortunately, the Penguins would experience more playoff heartbreak, this time at the hands of the Toronto Maple Leafs in the second round. Jagr would put up 12 points in 9 playoff games as the Penguins would be eliminated in overtime in Game 6. A rare sight, seeing the Maple Leafs go on a deep playoff run in colorized television. As Jagr entered a new century, Jagr would pull off a three-peat, winning his 3rd straight Art Ross trophy despite missing almost 20 games, finishing with 96 points in 63 games. He would also win his 2nd straight Lester B. Pearson Award as well, adding to one of the craziest 10-year runs the sport would ever see. In what would end up being Jagr's last year in Pittsburgh, he would capture his 4th consecutive Art Ross trophy, recording 52 goals, 121 points, as well as 12 points in 16 playoff games. And on December 30th of that season, Jagr became the 59th player in NHL history to record 1,000 points in the league. And this would mark the end of an era in Pittsburgh, as Jagr would soon move on to continue his remarkable career elsewhere. In 2001, now at the age of 29, Jaromir Jagr was arguably the best player on the planet. He had already collected 2 Stanley Cups with the Penguins during his first 2 seasons, before becoming the league's most dominant scorer of the mid to late 90s. Between the lockout-shortened 1995 season and 2001, he won 1 Hart Trophy, 5 Art Ross trophies, including 4 consecutively from 97 to 2000, and he was an All-Star all 7 of those years. During his 11 years in Pittsburgh, he played in 806 games, scored 439 goals, earned 640 assists for a total of 1,079 points. Despite Jagr's success on the Penguins and the team's storied history, the team was struggling financially in 2001, and on July 11th of 2001, amidst a relatively mild but heavy summer day in Pittsburgh, the Penguins made the decision to trade their superstar Czech forward to the Washington Capitals for 3 prospects: Chris Beach, Michael Civic, and Ross Lupashuk. Not only were the Penguins struggling financially at this time, but it turned out that the trade came after Jagr publicly requested a trade 3 times during the regular season. Frictions with the team's head coach Ivan Hlinka, coupled with the struggling franchise's inability to pay Jagr the money he would be looking for his upcoming contract extension, unfortunately made this trade inevitable. Looking back, this trade is considered to be one of the biggest fleeces in NHL history, although Pittsburgh really had no choice but to trade Jagr, and surprisingly, this trade didn't really work out well for either team in the long run. Sometimes, for whatever reason, players simply don't seem to fit in with certain teams, and Jagr's tenure with the Capitals is a testament to that. During Jagr's time with the Washington Capitals, the team was going through a challenging period. In 2002, during Jagr's first year with the Capitals, he had a decent season, but he was unable to continue his Art Ross streak, regressing slightly to 79 points in 69 games. Despite this, Jagr was still selected as an All-Star. It was also the first time in Jagr's career that he didn't play in any playoff hockey. The following year, Washington appeared to be heading in the right direction, making the playoffs but losing in the first round to the Tampa Bay Lightning in 6 games. Jagr had another elite regular season, but by his own standards it wasn't that good, only recording 77 points in 75 games, once again making the All-Star team. Despite not achieving the success he'd hoped for in Washington, Jaromir Jagr did reach a significant milestone on February 4th, 2003, becoming the 5th youngest player in NHL history to reach the 500 goal mark in a game against the Tampa Bay Lightning. However, almost just as fast as it began, Jagr's time in Washington would come to an end. Halfway through the 2004 season, after just 46 games with the Capitals, he would be traded yet again, this time to the New York Rangers for Anson Carter. Yes, for Anson Carter. In the Rangers' final 31 games, Jagr recorded 29 points, marking the end of his underwhelming tenure in Washington. And during the 2005 season, because of another lockout, Jagr would have to find a place to play. So he returned home where it all began, back to Kladno. and he tore up the league there, before spending time with Omsk in the KHL, subsequently tearing up the KHL as well. Now heading into his first full season as a Ranger, in 2006, at 34 years young, Jagr and the Rangers seemed to click. Jagr had his best season since 2001, scoring 54 goals, registering 69 assists and 123 points, which was second in the NHL in scoring. After a few off years in Washington by his own standards, it now looked like Jagr could play for another 15 or 20 years. Literally. And despite finishing second in the Hart Trophy voting, he would win the Pearson Award for the third time in his career, showing his fellow players still viewed him as the best player in the league. In 2006, Jagr was also setting so many personal milestones for himself. On November 19th, Jagr would become the 16th player in NHL history to score 600 goals. Just 2 nights after reaching the 600 goal milestone, he would surpass Jari Kurri to become the leading European-born goal scorer in NHL history. And just 5 nights after that, he would surpass Stan Mikita for the most points by a European-born player in NHL history. Over the next 2 years, Jagr at 35 and 36 years old showed literally no signs of slowing down. On February 10th, 2007, Jagr reached the 1,500 point mark, becoming the 4th fastest player in NHL history to do so, after only Marcel Dion, Mario Lemieux, and Wayne Gretzky. On April 5th, 2007, Jagr scored his 30th goal of the season, which would also be his 15th consecutive 30-goal season, tying the NHL record held by Mike Gardner. This would also mark the last time Jagr would eclipse the 30-goal mark in the NHL. Because despite showing no signs of slowing down, 0 signs of aging, it appeared as though Jagr's legendary NHL career was over. Jagr shocked the hockey world when he announced following the 2008 season that he would be heading back to Europe. After not being offered a contract extension by the Rangers, Jagr signed with Avangard Omsk of the KHL, and many believed this would mark the end of Jagr's legendary career in the NHL, thinking they had seen the last of him in the greatest league in the world. Over the next 3 years, Jagr played in Omsk, where he showed he was still elite and could excel against the best over in Europe. In 155 games over the next 3 years, Jagr recorded 66 goals, 80 assists, for a total of 146 points. By 2011, at 39 years old, it was clear that Jagr still had hockey left in him, and one can't help but wonder what his NHL totals would have looked like if he had decided to stay in the NHL during those 3 years. That remains one of the biggest what-ifs in NHL history, and thankfully, despite missing out on 3 years of Jagr in the NHL, on July 1st, 2011, the NHL world would be getting an all-time great back. Jagr announced that he was coming back, marking his return to the NHL and setting the stage for the next chapter in his storied career. Jagr had nothing left to prove at this point in his career, but his love for the game was still there. He signed a 1-year deal with the Philadelphia Flyers, stepping into what many believed to be more of a leadership role. Many wondered how Jagr would fare coming back to North America after such a long hiatus, and of course he showed he was still the man. While not the same prime Jagr, at 40 years old, he still put up 19 goals and 54 points in 73 games for Philly, along with 8 points in 11 playoff games. The following year, Jagr would choose not to re-sign with the Flyers, and instead he would sign a deal with the Dallas Stars. However, due to yet another lockout, and just a quick side note, that's crazy, Jagr was around for every lockout the league has had, so Jagr would once again go back home to Kladno. Jagr would dominate the league back home, putting up 24 goals and 57 points in just 34 games. In 34 games with the Stars, Jagr would put up 14 goals and 26 points. And at the trade deadline, he would be on the move yet again, this time to the Boston Bruins. This move would give Jagr one last shot at glory just over 20 years after he had last been to the finals. After the trade to Boston, Jagr played well, putting up 9 points in the team's final 11 games. He would help Boston reach the Stanley Cup Finals, where they would unfortunately fall just a few games short to the Chicago Blackhawks. But in 22 playoff games, Jagr recorded 10 assists. Despite not scoring a goal during Boston's run to the finals, his all-around game was still evident. He did whatever the team asked of him, and did what all great players do as they get up there in age. He adapted to his new role with his new team. Another milestone came for Jagr when on March 29th, he became the 12th player in NHL history to record 1,000 assists. And at 41 years old, Jagr showed he still had a lot of hockey left in him. Jagr would enter yet another new chapter of his career. Following the loss in the finals to the Blackhawks, Jagr would decide to sign with the New Jersey Devils. At 42 years old now, signed halfway through last offseason, Jagr finished second on the team in goals with 24 and first in points with 67. On March 1st, 2014, Jagr became the 7th player in NHL history to score 700 goals. Point-wise, Jagr never really fell off. The only thing to really decline in Jagr's game was his speed. This performance earned him another 1-year deal with the Devils for the 2015 season. In 57 games to start the 2015 season with Jersey, Jagr put up 11 goals, 18 assists, and 29 points before being traded once again, this time to the Florida Panthers. And although his time in Florida was short, we would witness the peak of Jagr's second stint in the NHL, as he truly turned back time. Jagr finished 2015 strong with Florida, tallying 18 points in 20 games. But it was in 2016, Jagr looked like he was back in 96, or 06, or hell, even 86. "2016 was an absolute joy to watch as a hockey fan, as Jagr proved that age is just a number. At 43 years old, Jagr was an all-star yet again. He finished 7th in Hart Trophy voting. Yes, 7th in Hart Trophy voting at 43 years old. He took home the Bill Masterton Trophy and helped a young Panthers team make it into the playoffs. He finished the 2016 regular season with 66 points, including 27 goals in 79 games. On February 20th of that year, he would pass Brett Hull as the league's third leading goal scorer with 742 goals. And a few weeks later, Jagr would record point number 1851, and he would pass Gordie Howe for third on the all-time points list. And the year following, on December 22nd, 2016, Jagr would record his 1,888th NHL point, becoming second on the NHL's all-time points list behind only Wayne Gretzky.
Third year here with the Panthers, his 23rd season in the NHL. Jaromir Jagr debuted in the NHL on October 5th, 1990. The Panthers were still 3 years away from becoming a franchise.
I appreciated everything. I mean, I played with so many great players during my hockey career, starting with Pittsburgh and even right now with the Florida Panthers and Boston. Great players. Thank you very much, guys. And, thanks for the fans.
How do you not love this guy? In 2017, Jagr continued to defy age, putting up 46 points in 82 games with the Panthers, a little regression from the previous season, but my man was 45 years old at this point, still putting up more points than his age number. And it would also be on his 45th birthday against the San Jose Sharks, Jagr became just the second player in NHL history to record 1,900 career points. Jagr had a hell of a run in Florida, but all good things must come to an end. And for a while during the 2017 offseason, it did look like this was truly the end of Jagr's NHL career, as he went unsigned for most of the offseason. However, on October 2nd, the Calgary Flames would reach out and sign Jagr to a one-year deal. But it became clear that for the first time in Jagr's life, Father Time was finally starting to win the battle against him, as he would struggle to find his form with the Flames, recording just 1 goal and 6 assists in 22 games. And Jagr, now at the age of 46, things just didn't work out for him in Calgary. Father Time eventually won the battle against Jagr, and he would return to Kladno to finish the season back at home. And although his NHL career had come to an end, not in the way Jagr would have liked, he was far from done playing hockey at a pro level. As in, he still hasn't finished playing hockey, because Jagr is still playing to this day. After playing sparingly in 2019, Jagr would bounce back in 2020 with Kladno, scoring 15 goals and tallying 29 points in 38 games. He continued to play in 2021, recording 12 points in 19 games, and in 2022 he put up 19 points in 43 games. And even in 2023, at the age of 51, he managed to record 14 points in 26 games. And Jagr, just days before celebrating his 51st birthday, something truly special happened. On February 6, 2023, Jagr would score his 1,099th career goal, to break Wayne Gretzky's combined goal record in professional games and international tournaments. So, you can technically say Jagr was the best goal scorer to have ever played pro hockey. And as of the time I'm recording this, it's unclear if Jagr's calling it quits, but as late as this year in 2024, at 52 years old, he was still playing in games for Kladno, and Jagr continues to play to save his hometown team, and sees it as the least he can do to draw fans and help the team financially, as there have been concerns about the team folding without Jagr. And this just reflects the kind of person Jagr has always been. Since 2011, he's actually owned Kladno. Though he could easily sell his ownership, he never forgot his roots and chose to keep the team alive under the Jagr name. His late father, who actually owned the team before him, would surely be proud to see it in his son's hands today. So yeah, Jagr is still playing to this day. As of the time I'm recording this, he hasn't officially retired from pro hockey. It just wouldn't be right for me to end this video without talking about Jagr's incredible international career, as it was a vital part of his legacy. One of Jagr's most significant, and I'm sure proudest moments in his hockey career came in 1998, when he scored the game-winning goal against the US, leading the Czech Republic to their first ever Olympic gold medal. He would also help the Czechs take home another medal, winning bronze in the 2006 Olympics, defeating Russia 3-0 in the third place match. And throughout his career, on top of all the regular season, all the playoff hockey he was playing for pretty much his entire pro career, he was a fixture in the best-on-best tournaments, appearing in the 1991 Canada Cup at just 19 years old, as well as the World Cup in 1996 and 2004. He participated in the men's World Championship 10 times, winning 4 medals, 2 gold, 2 bronze. His first gold medal came in 2005 during the NHL lockout, and he saw the Czechs beat Canada 3-0, making him the 15th member of the Triple Gold Club. In 2015, at the age of 43, Jagr would retire from the Czech national team after the men's Worlds in Prague, where he was named the tournament MVP. And I'm gonna throw this in there anyway, because I feel it's just too ridiculous not to include. During one game with the Shackler Sharks in the German Hockey League, during the 1995 lockout shortened season, Jagr played one game, putting up 1 goal and 11 points. The Hall awaits. Recently, Jagr had his iconic number 68 retired by the Penguins, and with 1,733 NHL games played, Jagr ranks 4th all-time. If he had stayed in the NHL from 2009 to 2011, he would have the most games played of all time. His 766 career goals rank 3rd all-time, and he likely would have surpassed 800 goals if he had remained. Okay, he would have. With 1,155 assists, he ranks 5th all-time, and his 1,921 points are second only to Wayne Gretzky. In 208 playoff games, he scored 78 goals and tallied 123 assists for 201 points. And well, boys, what more can I say? This legend's career and story is still ongoing. His training regimens, along with his God-given talent, turned an already legendary career into arguably the most impressive pro hockey career of all time. Jagr had to transform the way he played about 3 different times, adapting for each decade he played in. I think we can all confidently say there will never be another player, especially with the way hockey is played today, who will play in 3 different eras of NHL hockey and 4 different eras of pro hockey. He took everything one day at a time and always lived in the present. So I'll end this video with a quote and a salute to Jagr. Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That's why we call it the present. I'll see you later, boys.
I want to say thanks to Dominica, my girlfriend. She's too young to remember I played in Pittsburgh, but I told her all the stories, so don't worry about it.
Hey guys, I hope all is well. I just wanted to take a little moment here to thank all of you guys for 4,000 subscribers. It might not seem like a big deal to most, but I really appreciate all of you guys. I love y'all. And for those of you who are new to the channel, like and subscribe for more. We do deep dives here on the crazy world of hockey. Also, be sure to let me know who you guys would want to see a deep dive on next, and I'll be sure to make it happen. I'll see you boys later. Thanks again for 4,000 subs.